for the last year, I've been upgrading my PC when it comes to my desktop rig for gaming and for video editing, things like that. We moved from a 2070 Super to a 3080. We upgraded the CPU, the motherboard, the RAM is still the same. One thing that has been the same that I've wanted to upgrade for a long time is the storage. And I picked up a SSD 980 Samsung SSD 980 NVMe drive here. That I wanted to install as my boot drive. My boot drive is a very old Kingston 120 gig solid state drive. And what I have noticed in the last couple weeks is that it's full. System files fill it up pretty fast, and 120 gigs only lasts for a little while. And the computer seems to be steady slowing down a little bit. I don't know if it's because it's so old. I don't know if it's because it's failing. I don't know what. My entire goal is Black Friday's coming up, and I would like to get a 2 terabyte NVMe drive. My motherboard has 2 slots on it for NVMEs, and I would like to get a 2 terabyte M.2 drive to replace my spinning platter drive that is 2 terabytes that holds all my games, all my YouTube videos, everything. I also have another solid state drive that I use for main games, but there's nothing ever installed to it, as well as a 1 terabyte hybrid drive. It's the spinning drive, but it has the SSD cache. It's a Seagate Fire CUDA, something like that, gamer jargon. But the problem is when I put this guy in and I want to boot to it, am I gonna have to do a clean install of Windows? Let's talk about that today. In a previous video, we went over how to install or clean install Windows 10 or 11. However, because I have like 300 gigs worth of games that I play consistently and they are not on the C drive, they're on the spinning platter drive. But because I believe the boot drive kind of just runs everything, and every time I've clean installed the boot drive and didn't clean anything else, I've always seemed to have some problems. So, do we have to clean install? I really don't want to. So I'm going to experiment today with cloning my boot drive and cloning it over to this drive, and hopefully, with any luck, we won't have to clean install, and I'll be able to play with the boys in a couple hours here when everybody gets on. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can do this. You can go and create a system image. We'll just kind of go through the steps here. If you go to settings, you can go to updates and security and go to backup, and then you can look for an option that says go backup and restore, or go to backup and restore Windows 7. I don't know if everybody will have that option anymore because, you know, Windows 7 is out of support. But if you have the option, you can do it that way. After you go to backup and restore Windows 7, you can create a system image. And this is on Windows 10, just to not confuse anybody. From there, you can save where you want the image to be saved to. You can start your backup. You can create a system repair disk or not. It says here to select no. When you when you reboot the drive, you insert your installation media. Instead of hitting install now, hit repair this computer. Once you're in there, you can go to system recovery and recover that image. We're not gonna do it that way. I'm gonna play with a tool called Macrium Reflect, and I don't know how to do this. So, like I said, just because you're an expert in the IT field doesn't mean you're an expert in every aspect of the IT field. I've never done this before. So, hopefully by the end of this video, I will be back talking to you after we're done doing this. And everything is good. If not, I'll probably let you know, or this video might never be made. So, what we want to do is we want to download and install Macrium Reflect free. Oh, look at that. I've already done that. Solid. So, the next thing that we want to do is make sure that the checkbox next to the disk containing your system partition C drive is selected. So, as you can see, well, we want to uncheck all this junk. This is the Samsung. This one right here, the one that we have checked, has my C drive on it. You can see it right here. Okay, so we're selected there. Once selected, select the clone this disk option below it. So right here, this guy, we're gonna clone this disk. Let's see. In the clone menu, select the new, smaller drive. I don't want to select a smaller drive. Oh, maybe this won't work. Select a disk to clone. 2. Select a disk to clone. 2. This guy right here. So I've selected the Samsung 980, 1 terabyte, M.2. With the new disk selected, you will need to delete any existing partitions on the drive by first selecting them in the destination category, and then selecting delete existing partition. So there is a partition here. We're going to delete that partition to make sure that we have all the space. With any existing partitions on your new drive removed, drag and drop each of the partitions on your drive, excluding the System C partition, from the source category to the destination category, leaving your System C last. Drag and drop the partition. That's weird. Why does it want me to drag it last? They're the experts. We're going to drag these. Said to do it last. So we did it last. Macrium Reflect will automatically resize your system partition to use up any remaining space on your new drive if your new drive is smaller than the original. If you'd like to change the size of your partition, if you're using a larger drive, so wish to resize it to make up the additional space, select it in the description. Okay, so we don't want it to take up, we want it to have, okay. Yeah, I don't want it to fill space, or do I want it to fill space? Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go. So now we have our C drive able to have that. It's been expanded to 930 gigs instead of not having that space, which you probably could have went into like disk management and allocated that space later on. But this tool allows us to do that up front right away. So I dig that. In the partition properties menu, resize your partition. Use the partition size box. If you're using a larger drive, make sure that your free space reaches 0. This must be on an older one because that fill space worked for us there. Select finish to confirm your cloning options. Leave the options intact in the backup save options menu that appears next. Select OK to confirm. So we're going to go next. No, we're going to do it right now. So these are all of our partitions here. We're going to hit finish. We're going to run this backup now. Do we want to save it as a destination file? Save backup as an XML backup destination file. Okay, it says that. I'm just going to call it Macavity boot drive. So now it's going to clone. It is going to probably take a while to do this. So we're going to let it do its little process here. And then I am going to remove my boot drive from my machine and go into the BIOS and select the Samsung Evo as the new boot drive. And with any luck, I will be back in a few seconds for you. And we'll let you know if it worked or not. It's a learning experience, so even if it doesn't work, maybe I'll just upload the video anyway, right? We'll just do it. We'll upload the video if it works or not. So I'm going to let this go. I'm going to pull that hard drive out. I am going to go into BIOS, set the Samsung as the new boot drive. And like I said, with any luck, I'll be back in a couple seconds and everything will look the same and work and everything will be fine. Or it won't. And I'll still be back in a few seconds for you, probably a few hours for me. Why am I out of focus, Doc? And yeah, we'll just do the dang thing and see what happens. So I will be right back. I'm back. And it worked. Very solid. Very solid. If we pop over to the machine here real quick, we can see in my file explorer, if we come down here to local C drive and we go to properties, I had a 120 gig solid state drive before, about 7 years old. This one is now using 111 gigs of the 120 that I had before, but the free space that I have available is 819. Basically, the clone had finished. I had shut down the machine. I opened up the machine, unplugged that old boot drive. I went into BIOS here after I turned it back on. BIOS instantly picked up that the Samsung Evo had the Windows Boot Manager on it. And that was the top of the list for the boot. So it automatically did everything for me. Exited BIOS. I was instantly at my login screen, basically. And here we go. All my files are here. Everything seems to be in order. Everything seems to be working. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a 2 terabyte hard drive, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to buy a 2 terabyte M.2 and do the same thing with my old spinning platter drive. Get rid of that. But I do have a lot of games and stuff on there that I don't want to go through and reinstall. I have about 500 gigs worth of games. And I really don't want to go through all that. So we're going to try to clone that one too as soon as that drive comes. I don't think I'll make a video for that, but maybe I'll do an update. Who knows? Oh yeah, so cloning a boot drive is as simple as downloading what is that? What was that program that we use called? It's called Macrium Reflect. Free. You don't have to pay for it. There is an enterprise version or a commercial version of it that you do not need to have in order to just clone a drive at home. And this shouldn't only work for boot drives. You should be able to clone any drive. So IT professionals who are trying to fix a computer, maybe a hard drive, maybe Windows won't boot, you know, something's going on, but you need to save all their files, you should be able to clone it to this, clone it using this tool. I used an old disk cloning tool. It was like 10 bucks for a forever license. I can't remember what it was. And I don't know the price on this for sure, but it is an option. It's an option out there to clone disks, and you can use that to repair issues that way. So, guys, that's a video. If you liked it, like it, subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest technological content. Did I just have a stroke? I'm gonna see you in the next one. I'm gonna go check this out. Take care.